Once upon a time, in a village called Denkra, there lived a very fat man named Ofori. Ofori was one of the richest men in the village because he sold a lot of food. But he had a big problem: he ate too much. He couldn't resist food even when he was very sick. The amount of food he ate in one day could feed a family of 10 for a whole week. This habit started when he was a little boy, as the only child of his parents. After waiting for almost 20 years to have a child, they spoiled him with everything he wanted to make him happy. Because of this, Ofori started gaining weight at a young age. Old habits die hard, and years later, after his parents died, Ofori took over his father's business. He was smart and had learned well from his father, so he became a good businessman. Ofori was well known in the community and beyond, but he was not happy. He was almost 40 years old and couldn't find a woman to love and marry him. The women in the village laughed at him and made jokes about him. They wondered who would ever marry him. One girl said, "How will he even make love with his wife? He would just fall on her and kill her." Another girl said, and they all burst into laughter. Any girl who got close to him did so just for his money. Chioma, one of the beautiful village girls, got close to Ofori and made him feel special. Ofori thought his prayers had finally been answered. He took care of all her needs and helped her family. But one day, he heard that Chioma's suitor was at her house, paying her bride price. He rushed there and found out it was true. "How could you do this to me, Chioma? I thought you said you loved me," Ofori cried. "Me, love you? Never. Have you seen yourself, Ofori? How do you think a girl like me would end up with a fat, smelly man like you? Thank you for all you did for me and my family, but I'm sorry, you cannot be my husband. As you can see, I'm already getting married," Chioma said. Ofori left, feeling very sad. After that, he met other girls, even from other villages. But as soon as he talked about marriage, they all disappeared. Ofori's problem only got worse as he kept eating more and more. Because he was so sad, he ate even when he wasn't hungry. A few weeks later, Ofori didn't leave his room for several days. He just asked his staff to send all his food to his room. His staff became worried because Ofori was usually a cheerful and lively man. They were very concerned that their boss hadn't left his room and wasn't his usual self. "When I went to drop master's food, the place smelled so bad. I don't think he has bathed in days," one maid said, looking worried. After a few more days, they realized it was serious and called the village doctor because Ofori wasn't eating as much as he used to. The doctor came and examined Ofori, shaking his head in amazement. "Your life is in danger, Ofori. You really need to take care of your health. If you continue eating like this and eating the wrong things, you won't live long. Obesity is dangerous. It's not just about how you look, it's a health problem that increases the risk of many diseases like heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, liver disease, and some cancers. You are at a very high risk," the doctor said. He advised Ofori on what to do and promised to come back or send someone to check on him. A few days later, while Ofori was still in bed feeling sad, the door to his room opened, and the most beautiful woman he had ever seen walked in. "You know, lying in bed and feeling sorry for yourself won't help, right?" she said. Ofori struggled to sit up. "Who are you?" he asked. "My name is Ditubi. Dr. Marco sent me. I'm a nutritionist in training from the neighboring village." "I'm training with Dr. Marco," she replied. Ofori fell back on his bed. "So what do you want?" "Just leave me alone. I want to stay here and die," he said. "See what I said? You're feeling sorry for yourself," Ditubi said. Ofori didn't respond. He was too tired and sad. "I'm here to help you, Ofori, if you will let me," Ditubi said. "I don't need your help," Ofori shouted. "Nobody does anything for free," especially for a fat, smelly man like me. I'm tired of struggling. Let me stay here until I die. Leave now, he screamed. The Tubi jumped in fear and was about to leave. Do me a favor and tell the maid to bring my food on your way out, he shouted. The next day, the Tubi came back, and Ofori chased her away, even throwing something at her. But the Tubi didn't give up. She kept coming every day, and the housekeepers pleaded with her. "Ma, our boss is not usually like this. He is a happy and cheerful man who treats us well and with respect. The rejection and weight have broken him. Please don't give up on him," one of them said. The next day, when the Tubi came back, Ofori didn't scream. He just lay there, looking at her. "Why do you keep coming back? What do you stand to gain from helping me?" he asked. "It's my job. I want you to feel better because I know that beneath this body is a wonderful, intelligent, handsome man waiting to come out. Please let me help you," the Tubi said. Ofori stood up and went to shower while the Tubi cleaned the room. Once he was done, she said, "First, we need to leave this room. You need to feel the sun on your skin again. Let's sit outside for a while." Ofori followed her outside. When his staff saw him out of his room, they were very happy. The Tubi sat with him and planned a new routine and meal plan. When Ofori saw the meal plan, he got angry. "Are you trying to starve me? I wanted to stay in bed and die, but you refused. Now you want to starve me to death. I'd rather die eating yummy food than from starvation," he said and walked away. The Tubi sat down, frustrated. How would she make Ofori understand that he needed to cut down to live longer? The next day, she returned with the doctor, and they spoke to Ofori again about the dangers of obesity. They told him he might not live until the next year if he didn't improve. "What will happen to your father's hard work that you have left to the staff for these past weeks? Think about it," the doctor said. "You're dying slowly, Ofori." The Tubi left him for a few days to think about everything and make up his mind. A few days later, she came back, and this time, Ofori was more willing to listen. She cleared his room and the house of all junk food and put the meal plan everywhere for the cook to see. She also put up his daily routine for him to follow. She started helping him to work out, and he was to eat only 3 times a day with no more late-night snacks or eating between meals. She also introduced portion control for all his meals. "What is this?" he shouted at his staff. "Is this food for a baby?" "Sir, that's the only food the Tubi asked us to make," one of them said in fear. "Is there no food in the house?" "Even if there isn't, I sell food." "What do you mean?" he barked. "She said you should eat this and she'll get you fruits and salad." "Salad? Am I a goat? Get me bread or something else." "Sir, there is no bread in the house." Ofori sighed. "You people want to kill me," he said. "Sir, it's for your own good," one maid said. "Get out of my sight," he shouted, and she fled. He ate the small meal and drank lots of water. When the Tubi came back, he almost shouted the roof off. "The Tubi, I accepted everything you're doing, but what is portion control? You want to feed me baby food? This is too much. You know I love beans, but there wasn't even bread to eat it with." The Tubi tried to calm him and explained her goal for the 100th time. For months, the Tubi continued to care for Ofori. They became very close. "The Tubi, it's been months, but it doesn't seem like anything is happening," Ofori said. "It takes time. Weight loss is harder than weight gain. The good news is you're much healthier now," the Tubi replied. A few months later, Ofori began to see changes in his body. He was slimmer than he had ever been. His belly no longer hung over his pants. As they kept to the routine, Ofori lost more weight. He couldn't believe his eyes. His face was more defined, and he realized he was actually a handsome man. Motivated by his progress, He stuck to his routine with Ditubi, who had become his best friend. His business was thriving, and he was losing weight. Life was looking up. Months later, Ofori couldn't believe his eyes when he looked in the mirror. He thought he was seeing a different person. Ditubi, is this really me? He asked in surprise. Yes, of course. It's you. I told you that beneath that body was a charming young man. See? Ditubi said, smiling. Ofori hugged her tightly. Thank you so much for not giving up on me, even when I was a total jerk. And thank God for bringing you into my life. A few days later, Chioma was chatting with her friends. She had returned to her father's house because she couldn't continue with her marriage. Girls, I saw a very handsome man on my way here. I've never seen him before in this community, Chioma said. Her friends exchanged glances. Madam, that's Ofori you saw, one of the girls said. Chioma's mouth dropped open. What do you mean? How can that fine man be Ofori? Do you know what you're saying? She asked. One of the girls replied, we know all the men in this community. The only new handsome man everyone is talking about is Ofori. He has lost all that weight with the help of a nutritionist from the neighboring village. When I found out, I regretted how badly we treated him. Chioma decided to visit Ofori. When she arrived at his shop, Ofori was shocked to see her. What are you doing here, Chioma? He asked. I came to beg you, Ofori. I was a fool. You were a good and handsome man. I was just a foolish girl. Please take me back. I promise to love you no matter what, Chioma pleaded. Ofori laughed in disgust. Really? Because I now look like the kind of man you can marry, right? So, I am no longer the fat, smelly man. Please leave before I throw you out, he said angrily. It's the audacity for me, Ofori muttered as he chased her out of his store. Ofori felt confident about himself and loved his new look. He was determined to keep up his healthy lifestyle, though he occasionally feared relapsing. Ditubi assured him that if he stayed consistent, he wouldn't relapse, and she promised to always be there for him. A few months later, Ofori took a bold step and asked Ditubi to marry him. She accepted, and they had the grandest wedding Denkora town had ever seen. Ofori continued to take care of his health and weight with the help of his beautiful wife, Ditubi, and they lived happily ever after. Obesity is a serious issue. It's not just about appearance but about health. Losing weight is not easy, it's a struggle for many people. We should be kind with our words and support those who are trying to make a change. Consistency is key. Keep at it, and you will see results and love your body. Remember, health is wealth. Thank you for watching. Let us know where you're watching from, like our video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Please subscribe if you haven't already. See you in our next video. Bye.